So you're telling me you want to smell rich, you want to smell expensive. And let's be real here, who doesn't want to smell expensive? Who doesn't want to smell high-end? Sometimes you just want to give off that type of impression on people. Whether it be simply for a confidence boost for yourself or just to impress the people around you. That's the beauty about fragrances, is that you have so many different types out there and you can create and capture so many different moods, and you can present yourself however you would like to. So if you're going to a party, you can wear something that's fun. If you're going to a casual situation, you can wear something that's easygoing and casual smelling. If you're going to a high-end event, you can wear something more black tie and dressed up smelling. You get the point here. Today we've got 10 fragrances that, in my opinion, have a rich and luxurious smell to them. These all smell like something a wealthy gentleman would wear. The good news is, you don't have to be wealthy to buy really any of these. Now, I did go ahead and place a mixture of niche fragrances in here as well, just to appeal to those of you who want to splurge a little bit. And I've got a little surprise for you as well with those niche placements in here. We've got some important ground to cover. Let's run through it. We'll start off with one niche fragrance here, Roja Elysium. Grapefruit, vetiver, ambergris, and lemon are some of the notes in here. Now, it's a Roja fragrance. Typically, they have a lot of notes. This one, no exception, but those are the ones that you should know about for sure. It's a citrusy, woody, kind of aromatic, masculine men's fragrance. Now, if you were to put this in the most simple terms possible, make it easy for everyone to understand, this would essentially almost be like Roja Parfum's take on a blue fragrance. However, I don't want that to put you off, because putting this up against all of the other blue fragrances, there's a huge difference here. This does not really smell like any of the others. It doesn't smell like Bleu de Chanel or Sauvage or anything like that. But it does fit into a similar genre. And that genre is simply people-pleasing, ultra-versatile, masculine men's fragrances. And this one slots right in there. But don't be scared. If you own the other blue fragrances, it's not going to be redundant for you. People who have been around the channel for a while now would know that this and me, we get along very well here. This has always been one of my favorite fragrances in general on the niche side, one of my favorites from Roja, ever since I first smelled it from a sample. I remember, when I got my first bottle, it was such a big purchase for me at the time. I remember being so over the moon, and it still to this day is one that absolutely puts a smile on my face and makes me feel on top of the world. Now, my little surprise for you guys is that you can actually get 20% off of this fragrance here, and also all of the other fragrances on my Twisted Lily gift guide page. That will be linked down below. There's 12 fragrances total, this one included. There's a couple more in here that I'm going to be going over that are also on that page. What I did was I went through their entire website and I hand selected 12 of my favorite niche fragrances. So this isn't something they put together on their own. This is something that they approached me and said, hey, we want to do this for your subscribers and give them a great deal for the holidays here, Black Friday. And so I spent some time on it, thought about it, and kind of curated my top favorite niche. So for now, up until Sunday night, you can get 20% off the fragrances on that page. That's basically an unheard of deal. They always have an ongoing 10% off code, but you can use my code CHAOS20 to get 20% off those 12 fragrances on that page until Sunday night. Please take advantage of that, because you're not going to get these type of deals very often. Roja Elysium, first fragrance up. Next up, we have Prada Amber Pour Homme, just the original eau de toilette. Saffron, myrrh, and musk are a couple of the notes here. There's a few more going on, but essentially what you need to know is that this is a soapy clean Prada-style fragrance through and through, from opening to dry down. It is very classy. Prada is one of the best brands at making fragrances in this category. Soapy, clean, upscale, high-end smelling fragrances. That is this one to a T. And this one comes in at a pretty affordable price on discounters. You're not breaking the bank here. You're not paying niche prices for this one. It's relatively obtainable. And also what's nice about this one is for the general public out there, they're not going to be reaching for this one so much. You'll find that if you were to walk into a room out and about, you're probably going to be one of the only guys wearing something like this, because it doesn't have the same amount of appeal to just the average consumer. It doesn't have the same hype as a lot of other designer fragrances out there. I think it's really a gem for what it is. I don't want to call it a hidden gem because it's been out for a while. People know about this, but it's definitely talked about less than a lot of others. And if you want to smell rich and expensive and well put together, and however you want to call it, check out Prada Amber Pour Homme. Next up, we have Gucci Guilty Absolute. Leather, woods, and cypress are some of the main notes. So when it comes to putting together a video like this, And just when it comes to me thinking about fragrances that smell very high-end, a lot of times very woody fragrances come into mind, and you'll see that here with a couple of my other selections. There's something about it, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm the only one that thinks this, but when I smell a fragrance that's very heavy on the woods and even the leather, like in this case as well, I think they smell super expensive and super high-end. You know, there's ways you can go about it differently, like for example with the Prada and even Elysium, right? They all kind of have their own character here, but especially these heavy, masculine, dark, rich, and woody fragrances really smell super expensive to me. This Gucci is absolutely incredible. If you want to stand out, if you want to be unique, if you want something that's a bit of a challenge for you and you still want to smell expensive and high-end, I highly recommend you check this stuff out. Amazing fragrance. If you've smelled Killian Dark Lord, that's kind of in a similar vibe to this one. And if you have and you like that one, you'll like this. This could also be considered like a more affordable alternative to that Killian. There's still differences, but it does put you in a similar ballpark. Both of those smell very expensive. This one included. Amazing, amazing stuff. I love it. Next up, we have Memo African Leather. Cardamom, leather, and saffron are a few of the main ingredients in here. One of the best cardamom fragrances I have ever experienced. There's a reason why this one got hyped up within, you know, the smaller niche community. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. Wow, that's amazing. I'm gonna apply this just because I have to. It smells so good. That cardamom, it just hits you right away. It's spicy. You know, there's almost like a mintiness as well. Maybe I'm the only one that picks up on this, but there's like an ever so slightly tinge of a green mintiness up top. You get the spicy cardamom. You get the lavender in here. I believe the leather is also adding to a bit of a spiciness too. Makes it very masculine. So sexy, so stunning, and an absolute head-turning monster. The performance is massive. The smell is fantastic. And this has a super luxurious, super expensive, almost like royalty smell to it. Very, very nice stuff, and it had to be in this video. And this is another one that I hand-selected to be on my Twisted Lily page. Get 20% off with code CHAOS20 for a limited time here. You got till Sunday night. Highly recommend it. You're going to be hard-pressed to find this one at a lower price than that, so make sure you jump on that if you've been on the fence. Absolutely stunning fragrance. Up next, another Prada. You know, what's funny about this brand of Prada here is that I put 2 in the video. I was almost hesitant to do that because I like to add as much variety as I can with different brands. And so, you know, 2 is usually the max I'll do from one brand if I can help it. But even still, I was like, man, do I really need to put 2? But what's funny is I almost wanted to put a 3rd. Like, I was between so many different Prada fragrances. What does that tell you? That tells you that Prada is amazing at creating soapy, clean, and ultimately very high-end smelling fragrances. This one's a no-brainer, so I threw it in anyway, and I know you guys are going to be appreciative of that as well. Prada L'Homme, fantastic signature scent for work, for school, for literally anything. It has such a soapy, masculine, well put together, clean, high-end smell. What else can I say? It's got iris, neroli, and pepper, so it's a little bit floral and fresh, but also a tiny bit sweet and powdery. The performance is good for what it is. It's a very wearable scent that appeals to most ages out there. Most guys can pick this one up and love it. This would also be a great gift for someone. Can't say enough good things about Prada L'Homme. Very expensive and classy smelling. Up next, we have another woody fragrance that I was talking about earlier, Bottega Veneta Pour Homme Extreme. Pine tree, leather, juniper berries, and fir are some of the main notes. Definitely woody for sure, judging by that note breakdown. And it definitely is. It's woody, but it's also kind of powdery and warm. Not sweet, but there's a bit more depth beyond the woods here in this one. It's very rugged, it's very masculine, it's very sexy. I love how this comes across. It's a woody fragrance that's done in such a good way. One thing that I say this one kind of, would remind me of is you take a lumberjack, a guy wearing a flannel in the fall, splitting some firewood. This is the type of fragrance he'd be wearing. It kind of has an outdoorsman smell to it. You get the pine tree notes. It reminds you of being outdoors, kind of in the woods, working in the fall, that sort of thing. Has that going for it, but it also has this very upscale, dressed up, classy smell to it, to where you could wear this in an event where it's a bit more professional, and you're going to smell on point, and you're going to smell very luxurious and very high-end. Bottega Veneta Pour Homme Extreme. I've talked about this one a lot. This is another one that I think flies under the radar, at least comparatively speaking to some of the other fragrances in this video and not in this video, just other designers. So I encourage you to give this one a shot. If you love woody fragrances, this is a must-have. Last niche fragrance for this video, another one that had to be in here. It's a new fragrance from Amouage, and it is Boundless. You know, I am all about tobacco and vanilla, right? A couple of my favorite notes and combination, you know, my favorite as well. And so when Amouage released this fragrance and I got my hands on it this year, I was like, holy crap, I'm pumped. When I smelled it, I'm like, holy crap, I'm extra pumped. I might cut that part out, actually. That was a little bit stupid, but whatever. Tobacco, bourbon, vanilla, myrrh, and cardamom are some of the main notes. With a note breakdown like that, what's not to love? So you get the vanilla up top. It's a bourbon vanilla, so there's a bit of a booziness. You get a nice, rich red pipe tobacco, a little bit of a spicy cardamom, myrrh giving a bit of an oriental smell along with the cardamom. Just kind of a spicy, smoky, woody, vanilla goodness going on here. And I'll admit, when I first saw this one announced, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, it's got the tobacco, the vanilla, a couple of my favorite notes, but a lot of other fragrances also have tobacco and vanilla in them. You know, how can they make this one stand out? I don't know how they did it, but they did. This doesn't smell anything like any of my other tobacco vanilla fragrances. It's one of a kind and completely different. So don't be worried about any sort of redundancy with the notes here. It's unlike anything else that I own. And it's one that I reach for when maybe I want a bit of a different, less traditional take on that type of note pairing. Love how this one comes across. Smells great, very high-end, very luxurious. I get a similar thing with a lot of Amouage fragrances, similar feeling from that. Reflection Man, Jubilation, Interlude Black Iris, this one, probably a couple I'm missing as well. You know, this is a brand that does a great job of creating kind of prestigious smelling fragrances. It is a niche brand, but they're not like a super expensive niche brand, so I really respect them for that. These fragrances all make me feel great, this one included. And would it surprise you if I also included this one on my Twisted Lily page? Get 20% off this one until Sunday night, so make sure you jump on that. This is still new. You're not going to find it discounted for a long time, especially at this price. If you've been on the fence, grab it now before it's too late. Unless you like paying retail more than you like paying 20% off, which if you do, wow, cool. Dior Homme 2020 Cashmerean Vetiver Isoe Super More Woods and More Woods are some of the main notes. Another woody fragrance, right? That's what it is. This is the quintessential modern men's fragrance. I've said that before, I'll say it again, quintessential modern men's fragrance. If I were to picture a well-dressed, stylish guy walking into a restaurant, walking into a store to go shopping, I would imagine that he would be wearing something like this, if that makes sense. A young, well-dressed guy. That's kind of what this one gives off. It just has a very clean, very modern, very kind of trendy smell to it, and I think it is really well done. I wasn't for it at first. Now I've come around to it more, and I've really started to enjoy it more. It's a very woods-heavy scent, and so I've always been into that, but this is just done in a different way, being that the Cashmerean is also very heavy. That's a note that took some time for me to warm up to. Now I'm starting to like it more, and I do enjoy the fragrance, and I think that it's a very good pickup for guys out there who just want to smell really good. If you don't want to be too daring, if you just want to be mass-pleasing and have something that's going to be widely accepted by people around you, Dior Homme 2020 is a fantastic choice, and you guessed it, it's very expensive smelling for sure. I love it. Next up here we have John Varvatos Oud. Yeah, look at that bottle, right? That's pretty cool. Tobacco, incense, oud, and leather are a couple of the notes. A couple. This John Varvatos fragrance has a massive note breakdown. Go look on Fragrantica. I mean, there's a ton of notes here. Now, whether or not you will pick up on all of those, I will say is probably unlikely. But the ones I highlighted here, you do pick up on. And maybe a few of the others as well, adding to a spiciness, maybe just making up the whole composition of the scent, but they may not stick out and be as distinguishable like in a niche fragrance or a higher end designer, where sometimes it can be easier to pinpoint, you know, each individual note. There's a lot going on here, and again, it's a fragrance that is from John Varvatos. They have good quality scents, but they still won't quite touch niche brands, obviously, or even some higher end designers. It's just something to keep in mind. But if you like any of the notes that I listed off, you're gonna like this one. It's woody, it's smoky, it's sweet, resinous, inviting, a little bit oriental, a little bit Middle Eastern smelling. Wow. Fantastic. You would not expect this creation to come out of John Varvatos. You just wouldn't. I mean, the brand, yes, they've created some amazing things, a lot of which trend on the fresher side, but they do have some ones with more depth as well. But this one is seriously impressive. If there's one John Varvatos fragrance that I feel like most people don't have, but should have, it's John Varvatos Oud. The performance is still kind of just so-so. It's not terrible. It's not great. This is an eau de parfum, but it just isn't going to be a beast mode scent like you would maybe expect it to be given the note breakdown. That's just how these are. But don't buy it for the performance. Buy it for a super rich, creamy, luxurious smelling, high-end fragrance, because that's really how it comes across. Impressive. It's around $50-ish on discounters, which can be a bit more than others from the line, but also quite a bit less than a lot of other tobacco, oud, incense, sweet fragrances on the market. So it falls in a really competitive spot, and I encourage you to check this one out. I love it. Last up for this video, a Tom Ford. This one is Costa Azzurra. Driftwood, seaweed, and lemon are some of the main notes. So this is another brand, Tom Ford, kind of like Prada, where I could have put just about anything. You know, looking at my Tom Fords, there was a lot of them that I own, private blends and otherwise. I could have even put gray vetiver. Just gray vetiver, soapy clean vetiver fragrance, right? Sounds basic, may sound boring, but it smells luxurious. I mean, Tom Ford has been the creative director of some amazing fragrances. So he knows what he's doing here. I could have put anything. Wanted to highlight this one though. It's not talked about as much anymore. It got a little bit of a push when it first came out, obviously, like everything. But then it seemed to have flattened out / kind of went down in terms of its hype here. So I want to bring it back up a little bit. The Driftwood gives off this musky, modern, masculine, kind of slightly sweet, woody tone. So it's a quite a unique note for sure. You get the lemon, you get some other woods in here in general. This one also has a big note breakdown, and so you may be like, what's going on with this? But it still kind of trends in the fresher direction. The seaweed gives off this green, kind of earthy smell. It is very, very unique, and I love it. I love the private blend version. I was sad, really sad when they were discontinuing it, but they discontinued that one to bring it into this lineup here. Beautiful scent. I love how it smells. So rich, so masculine, so high-end and classy smelling. You know, this is the type of thing that you could wear to, say you're going to a dinner on the beach, like there's a restaurant that's on the beach, on a pier, on a boardwalk, whatever. You're dressed up, kind of a dressy summer attire, that sort of thing. You want to make a good first impression, you can wear this. But at the same time, say it's wintertime and you're in a suit and a tie and you're going to some sort of event, you could also wear this. It has so much versatility. It smells amazing. I love Costa Azzurra, always have. Alrighty guys, there you have it. That is 10 fragrances that make you smell high-end and expensive and rich and whatever you want to call it. These here are all incredible in their own way. Love each and every one of them. Fantastic fragrances. And remember, for the niche here, you can hit the link down below to get the Elysium, get the African Leather, Amouage Boundless for 20% off until Sunday night. And there's also 9 other fragrances on that landing page that you can also get that 20% off on. Chaos 20 will get you 20% off everything, all 12 on that page. I encourage you to check it out. I went through and curated some of my favorite niche fragrances so you guys can get them at an unheard of discount. Big thanks to Twisted Lily for doing that, because that's a big deal to discount niche products at that rate. So awesome for them. Big thank you to you guys for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.